This is Master Lewis Thompson. This video is going to cover some basic strikes with your bow. For those of you who aren't quite learning the bow yet, you can still practice with this. You don't necessarily have to have a bow in order to do this. If you have a broom or if you have a Swiffer, you can use those too. So for your broom, you just unscrew it. Now you have a makeshift bow. So we're going to use a broom handle this time. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one end of the bow with my front hand and one end of the bow here with my other hand. So what I'm doing is I'm going to slight forward stance. So what I'm going to do is I'm starting with the bow in my right hand. Now the video is going to reverse it a little bit. So it'll look like the opposite, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my hand up towards my shoulder. My other hand is going to be out here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my bottom hand to my hip. And then once I pull it to my hip, I'm going to turn my hand over. All right, this is a basic strike. Once again, I'm going to pull my top hand to my shoulder, pull my bottom hand to my hip, and extend my top hand and turn my wrist over. I don't want my hand down here because if I were to hit something with that, my hand would slide right off. So nice and easy. Once again, pick it up to your shoulder, pull the bottom hand down by your hip, and strike forward. All right, that's your basic strike there. So now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my top hand and I'm going to pull it to my opposite shoulder. And this is a strike here. And then I'm going to pull it back. Another strike. So once again, it's just an up and down strike. So 1, 2. All right. Now from here, I'm going to pull it across. So I'm going to make sure that I lift my elbow up. I'm just pulling across. 1, and it's just going to touch my shoulder. So I'm here, I'm just pulling it across. So I went from here, 1, 2, right to my shoulder. That's all I'm doing. 1, 2, as I'm pulling it across. All right, so now we're going to put it together in a combination. So start here. One hand is on top, the other is on bottom. I'm stepping to my forward stance. I'm going to pull it up to my shoulder. Pull my bottom hand to my hip, strike. Now I'm going to pull it to my opposite shoulder, my top hand. I'm going to go 1, 2, then I'm going to pull my front hand, that's in front here, across. 3, 4. So starting the combination over again. I'm going to pull my top hand to my shoulder on the opposite side, pull my bottom hand to my hip, make sure I'm turning this hand over. That's the first strike. Now we're going to our up and down and our side to side strike. So 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit faster, bring it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all 5 strikes together. Once again. These are some basic strikes that you can do. Now, for your lower defense with the bow, I want to keep one hand up and the other hand down. I'm going to bring the bow over my head. I'm going to step forward into my forward stance. So since I'm going to my left leg, it's actually going to look like the right in the video, but I'm actually doing my left leg. I'm going to step forward, bring it over my head. I'm making sure that I pull my bottom hand underneath my armpit. And my top hand is now down by my knee. So as I turn to the side, right underneath my armpit, and the other one down by my knee. So that you can see. This is your lower defense. Once again, I'm bringing the bow up over my head. and down by my knee. One hand is pulling underneath the armpit, top hand is pulling down by your knee. This is your lower defense. If I go to the opposite side, same thing. I'm going to turn my hand. I'm going to bring the bow over my head. I'm going to turn. This hand that's closest to me right here is going to pull to my armpit. And the other hand is going to be right on top, down by my knee. So think about same arm, same leg. So with the same arm and my same leg, that hand is going to be on top, and the opposite hand is going to be pulling towards my armpit. Once again, very simple strikes and techniques. I'm bringing the bow up over my head, stepping to my lower defense. Remember, my bottom hand is underneath by my armpit. Top hand is here, right here down by my knee. If I'm doing the other side, once again, I turn my hands, pull the opposite, bottom hand. So if I'm here, my bottom hand is actually going to pull to my armpit. Top hand goes down by my knee. Good. For my more advanced students who've already worked with the bow, you're familiar with some of these combinations. I want you to think about being able to do these with some speed and some power. So get used to being able to do these techniques faster with your bow. So if we go back to that basic combination that we did first, for my advanced students, I want to see some good solid technique. One, and striking with power. All right, so now we're going to go into the uppercut. So pick a side. I'm going to go towards my right side, even though I know in the video it's going to look like my left, but I'm actually doing my right. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm here, bottom hand is down here at the bottom of the bow, and my top hand is here. So I'm about mid-range, so about shoulder width apart when I grab my bow. So my top hand, all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the bow down. And I'm going to kind of use a rowing motion. So now my top hand is going to pull down towards my hip. And my top hand now, which was at the bottom, is going to pull up. So I'm pulling my left hand to my hip, and my right hand is coming up. And this is the uppercut. So once again, it's down. So the tip of the bow, I'm going to drop it down. Then I'm going to row it in a rowing motion. I'm going to pull my left hand to my hip, my right hand up, and that's my uppercut. So as I speed it up, it's here. I'm pulling one hand to my hip, the other hand is up here. So 1, 2, 1, 2. And like I said, you don't have to have a bow. I'm using the broomstick here, just so you know that you can do this stuff at home. Also make sure, and I probably should have said this in the beginning of the video, I'm using the inside of my house, but I know what I'm doing. Most parents are probably going to ask you to practice outside so you don't break anything. So don't say, Sensei told me to do this, and that's why the lamp is broken. Blame Sensei. Practice outside, or somewhere where you have a lot of room where you can't break anything or put any holes in the wall. These are some basic strikes you can use at home. This is Master Lewis Thompson. Us.